Hey guys, hope everybody's doing well. Jen here. Couple quick updates, old business, and then I'll get to the video. This shouldn't be too long. But as usual, this channel is used to share our experiences and to witness what we're seeing in the environment and in the world around us, and what that means for us as beings moving forward from a spiritual perspective. Let's always keep that in mind. Also, if you're new here, I would suggest taking a look at past videos and video titles. What we do here is we build upon previous information and research. We research together and we share and send each other a lot of information to try and streamline things and to either confirm or deny what mainstream media is telling us. But most importantly, this is a spiritual journey. So many have forgotten that we are moved and animated by the spirit that is within the body, the temple. The temple that was to be rebuilt in 3 days is our body. So let's always remember that moving forward. And that is a nice segue into this topic. My dog died recently, and I've never lost a dog. I've never lost a pet. I wasn't really allowed to have dogs, and when we did have them, it was sporadic, and we only had them for a short time because of my household. My stepfather was not very tolerant of children or messes or animals, so Axel was very special to me. He walked into my life right before the trauma began. I could take that as a sign that he brought it with him. He was a harbinger, but nobody disliked this dog. Even people that dislike dogs as a rule liked this little guy. He was such a special creature. He's the one pictured in my Google picture above to the right there. So, animals going in circles. He started doing this. Now, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is my own experience as a nurse aide, as a mother, as an end-of-life caregiver for my relatives. I've seen a bit, but oddly enough, nobody actually died in my presence until this lovely creature of my my companion here. So, why are animals mysteriously walking around in circles? Well, the first thing is, from a physical standpoint, from somebody observing this, it is my opinion that it was entirely neurological. It was a neurological issue. He was not in the best of health when he came to us, and I do think that he had more time and more quality time because he was with us. I know that sounds weird with all the revealing that I've done of things I've learned, God sharing things and letting me see them work through my own family, friends, and neighbors, but there was no other way to do that with me because I am so isolated and just kind of pinned down to the same area. So this is also why I don't throw people under the bus. I try not to mention names. I don't think I've ever mentioned names other than maybe 2 or 3 times. Because it's not the person, it really is the spirit that's motivating that person. And a lot of this is driven by our gut. There is a channel that I stopped watching that I really favored for a long time. I talked with this person on the telephone, Pockets, great guy. But in 2019, when everybody seemed to flip and go inverted, I noticed that he did as well. And some of the things he was saying were worrisome to me. And a lot of the big channels, you should be worried by some of their revelations because they're telling you as an act of confession, you need to understand this. But we'll get into that more when we talk about consent and passive consent and what that means, which I do not even recognize myself, and I would not advise that you do either. So why are animals mysteriously walking around in circles? Okay, so when it's one animal, you can say that it's neurological, right? However, this has been a signal. This has signified in the past sometimes that either it was a precursor to some type of natural event, like a tornado, hurricane, but most oftenly to earthquakes, because we are living within some type of electrified magnetic realm. Magnetism and EMF rays have a lot to do with our physiology and how it functions and if it operates properly. So this is a thing. This has been going on since about 2018, 2019, for sure, en masse. ENMASSE, meaning all at once, in big groups, at pretty much the same time, in the same timeline. Now, they can give you reasons, and they are giving reasons for every type of animal that might be found to walk in circles. And they give you the reasons of neurology and all of those. So we know this, right? Most of us as adults, parents, people who've had pets, people who've just been alive, we understand, and we've started to be autodidactic with our own physiology and understanding how it functions, and to keep it oiled, to keep it maintained like a well-oiled machine. Again, I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is all from a spiritual aspect, okay? Now, a lot of these articles, a lot of these links are from 2019 and forward. I would advise, whenever doing research, go back as far as you can, because we are definitely in a time of inversion, and when more information and data does not necessarily signify more truth. Information is not always true. We need to remember that. So here we have January 23rd, 2023, November 28th, 2022. USA Today recognized this in 2023, and on it goes. The New York Post. We had mainstream media talking about this for a long time, but we've been talking about it since at least 2018. This has been one of the things that has kind of stuck out in the back of my mind to always remember, along with the eclipses, the strange things that went along at that time, and so on and so forth. So I want to touch on something real quick. I want to click on something, and we're going to look at the spiritual meaning. My dog, when he was passing, he started walking in circles, and that morning he wouldn't come to me, and he's like my best. Like, when I tell you how close we were very close. It had been harder, obviously, the last 2 years with Samson, but that dog, just, we had some type of connection, and he's tattooed on my ankle. And so he walked into my house pretty much uninvited, which most demonic beings don't do or can't do, so that kind of ousted that. Let's look at the spiritual meaning. Now, he didn't come to me that morning, and he kind of started, like, lifting his head, looking up, and then clicking his head and walking in circles. Now, again, this would signify some type of neurological issue, but we know this. I want to look at something else, and I also want people to understand that this has a lot to do. Now, it could be environmental, okay? And it could be natural or unnatural. This is what I think we should be paying the most attention to right now, because of how affected we have been, our minds have been, our bodies have been. Now, I could get into all the IT stuff, or TI stuff about targeted individuals and the technology and electronics and devices that go into that. I don't do that. I save that for other people who know a little bit more about it. I'm not saying it doesn't exist and it doesn't happen. I'm saying they are using that to cover the real voice of God and his helpers, who are trying to help us to acclimate to all the changes that are occurring. And if you don't believe me and you don't want to go along with a biblical timeline or paradigm, you could even look at the Hopi's warnings, which we're going to do very soon here. But we're leading somewhere with all of this information. And again, this part is me witnessing. I know that when God puts something in my life personally, especially at this time, it is for me to know something that is going on in the outer world. And most of you that have been with me through this journey have saw the messages I brought forth from God, areas to avoid, things that were coming politically and in mainstream, and they all have come to fruition. Not me, God is speaking to many people at this time from that little piece that is within us that is of God. So I really don't think it's that mystical or magical. I think it is miraculous. But it's something that we should come to accept, because it can be explained through things like science and quantum mechanics. The faith and science don't automatically exclude each other. They're not mutually exclusive. They can coincide and work and be harmonious together. Science is our explanation and our wording and our vocabulary for the actions and observations we make in nature. That's totally scientific. And what is nature but the maker bringing life into being? So the study team suspects the circling of many animals has to do with navigating using the Earth's magnetic field. Animals might also be able to improve measurement accuracy by taking multiple samples by circling several times. Why do marine animals swim in circles? Marine animals are very smart. Most of them, dolphins, sharks, whales, will pick up on things months before human beings do. Why this is, I don't know. Maybe it's because they're closer to the earth. Maybe it's because they are in that conductor that is water, and we are not surrounded by it as much as they are, though we are made of it. I think that we've been taught to ignore our instincts by people who tell us to ignore what's going on in our gut. They tell you that gut level is base, that we should be advanced beyond our gut. But your gut is where your intuition lives. It is where, it is like the transmission of a car, how a transmission controls everything. Your gut kind of regulates everything too. Your gut and your thyroid are like the transmission and the engine. Okay. So, there's a lot going on here, okay? Spiritual meaning of animals walking in circles. Christian labyrinth walking involves a circular journey to the center, symbolizing union with the divine. Now, they also do this around the black cube. The Muslims do this, all right? It is supposed to be significant of something, but when animals start doing this on their own, we need to understand that something is coming. And ironically enough, right there, this link tells us spiritual meaning of animals walking in circles. Is it bad? It means a change is coming. Get ready for the transition. Again, we've been talking about this on and on for years ad nauseum. If you're new here and I don't touch on something, please understand that I try to reply to all comments, but always familiarize yourself with the channel because chances are your question is or has been answered already, if not in that video, then a previous one, because we are all on a journey here, and we decide to take step by step and move forward in our spiritual evolution in as much harmony as we can muster. So I had to witness about this, that my dog did this before he passed. It's not nice to see. It's very shocking. In his case, I'm sure it was neurological, but again, God always brings these things to me on a personal level for some reason, just like he did with the black-eyed beings and all the little clues about obsidian and flying and Stevie and all of it. So stay prayed up. If you don't have a relationship with God, sit down and just be quiet for a few moments and just talk. Just talk to the one who made you and ask questions, because when you seek, you shall find. And watch for the channel updates. There's going to be a video coming on wildfires and what that has to do spiritually in this realm and what that has to do with the angels. I may end up posting that first, so if I do, please don't be confused. Just check the channel. I love you guys. Stay blessed. More soon. Bye.